Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the PEP Talk. I'm your friend, your mentor, your trainer, Sudeep Nag, Captain Nag, Brother Nag. Well, what do we have on the PEP Talk today? Well, today we are going to give you a glimpse of a good winning team. For a change, we work towards a teamwork, which I feel is the most important topic at the moment, along with other topics which are also relevant. Now, I start with an interesting story, a small one. There was a very famous professor. So, he was, addressing his students in the classroom in a very, very famous, well known, and prestigious college. So the courses were almost towards the end, and the time had come for the exam, and it was over. So the next day he was addressing the students. So when he came into the classroom, after a while, a student, he picked up his hand, and obviously the professor asked him that, yes, can you tell me what the problem is, or do you have a question? So the student said, yes, sir, I need to talk to you. He said, yes. He said, sir, yesterday we had our exam, and I am quite amused and surprised as well as shocked that the question paper that you gave us was the same question paper that was given to the students who passed out last year. And more surprising, it was in fact the same question paper year before. So, sir, I would like to ask you, I am quite shocked that we got the same question paper. And why is that? That because last year they got the same question paper, year before that same question paper, we got the same question paper. So does it make any sense? So the professor looked at him and said, yes, my son, yes, it does. Because the questions were the same, you're right. But the answers have changed. Answers have changed. Year before last year, the situation, last year's situation, and this year's situation. Questions may be the same. In fact, 100 years, it could be the same questions. But answers every year will change. So that's what I expect from you when you wrote the answers. And they were quite in respect of this man, and that was a very big statement. Yes, my friends, in the 21st century we cannot use the techniques, tools, and skill sets in terms of working either in our own families or in a corporate houses or in politics, every field. We cannot use the same techniques which got us success in the 20th century, and we expect using the same technique, the same outcome in the 21st century. The answers will change, the questions always will remain the same. So on that note, I would like to start my session on teamwork and creating a winning combination, a winning team, and collaboration. So I want to talk about collaboration first. Uh, there was this scientist. He was well known, and he conducted a very interesting experiment. So he was very fond of chickens, hens. So he conducted this experiment on chickens, and he learned a lot about teamwork and collaboration, and he passed on to several big companies. So what was the experiment? The experiment was that he had hundreds of chickens, and the point was that they were looking at the productivity in terms of the number of eggs, that they could get end of 2 weeks or 1 week or a month, and then they would see, so they, when they put 100 chickens in the same place, and hens and chickens, everything, and they noticed that you know after a while that it was not quite up to the expectation, the number of eggs. So he kind of studied a little more deep into the subject, and he understood that there were two types of chickens and hens that he had in these hundreds. What were the two types? So one was the green zone chickens and the other was the red zone chickens. So what were the green zone chickens? Now these chickens, they seem to be, well, you know, collaborative between each other. They were, in harmony with other chickens, and they were not really the most productive in terms of laying the maximum number of eggs, but they went along well with other chickens. And he noticed there are certain chickens which laid a lot of eggs. They were like the front runners, the leaders, in terms of laying eggs and productivity, the best performers. But somehow they didn't get along with the other chickens there, and they had a problem. So after a while, after the first round, he segregated these two types. So he put 50 or 60 or 60% of 50% of these chickens identified as the green zone chickens in one box, like a cage, and the rest in the red zone chicken in another cage. After a while, what noticed about the productivity, where all the top performers were put in one, and all the mediocres and okay kind of performers were put in one. It was seen that the productivity of the green zone chickens were far more than the red zone chickens, because when he noticed in the other cage where the red zone chickens were, they were without half their feathers, and some of them had nearly died. The reason is they started fighting, they pecked on each other, they plucked each other's feathers so that they could stand out and be more productive and be noticed as the best. you know so he learned a very big lesson, that although we have talents, we have people who are great performers, even in corporate places, in companies, we have such people. Now the tendency is pegging on people, putting others down, and coming out as the best. And that process actually doesn't help at the end in terms of outcomes, productivities. Rather, you want people who are collaborative, may not be the best of performers, but at least that what you can expect is, end of the day, a very good productivity. So looking at this experiment, it was clear that in terms of teamwork, collaboration, uh, in terms of people management, it was noticed that it is important to have a winning combination. Just like the IPL team of Bangalore Royal Challengers, who had Virat Kohli, Chris Gale, AB de Villiers, the best of best players. Ultimately, how many IPL tournaments did they win? None. Whereas the first inaugural IPL tournament was won by Rajasthan Royals, who had opening batsmen whose name you don't know, certain bowlers and players and batsmen you don't even remember, and who was led by a retired Australian cricketer. So can you tell me, like, the irony of the situation? So the winning combination is more important, having a team is more important, and the right kind of people is more important, not stars, not the best of performers or the best of talents. That would be much more fruitful at the end. I hope my video was useful for you. So we'll come up with more videos on the same subject. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Be safe. From your trainer, mentor, guide, Mr. Nag, Sudeep Nag, I'd like to bid you goodbye. Stay well, be blessed, and together let's smile.